On September 20th, 2023, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill number 553 into law, which requires most California employers to take steps to prevent and respond to workplace violence. The purpose of this training is to comply with SB 553 by reviewing how to identify, respond to, and report workplace violence hazards. Before we begin, let's see how much you know. True or false? Workplace violence is committed by people who unexpectedly snap under pressure. False. There are almost always warning signs before an incident. True or false? Most situations will resolve themselves if given a cooling off period. This is also false. The problem doesn't just go away. Nearly all violent incidents are the result of problems that have been ignored. The U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, defines workplace violence as any physical assault, threatening behavior, or verbal abuse occurring in the work setting. Senate Bill 553 requires a written workplace violence prevention program, or WVPP, identifying potential threats and outlining prevention measures, a log for documenting violent incidents, and training for all employees on recognizing and reporting potential workplace violence, understanding the organization's WVPP, and their rights under the law. Workplace violence prevention is classified into 4 distinct types based on the perpetrator's relationship to the victims and/or the place of employment. Type 1. The perpetrator has no legitimate relationship to the business or its employees. The perpetrator is usually committing a crime, such as robbery, trespassing, or terrorism, in conjunction with the violence. Convenience store clerks, taxi drivers, security guards, and mom-and-pop store employees are exposed to this type of violence. 85% of workplace homicides fall into the Type 1 category. Type 2. The perpetrator has a business relationship with the place of employment. Examples include customers, clients, patients, students, and any other group for which the business provides services. A large portion of customer-client incidents occur in the healthcare industry, such as nursing homes or psychiatric facilities, the victims oftentimes being patient caregivers. Police officers, prison staff, flight attendants, and teachers are some other examples of workers who may be exposed to this kind of workplace violence. 3% of all workplace homicides are Type 2 workplace violence. Type 3. The perpetrator is an employee or past employee who attacks or threatens another employee in the workplace. Worker-on-worker fatalities account for approximately 7% of all workplace homicides. And finally, Type 4. The perpetrator usually does not have a relationship with the business, but has a personal relationship with the intended victim. Examples include a friend, a spouse, boyfriend or girlfriend, partner, or companion. This category includes victims of domestic violence assaulted or threatened while at work, and accounts for 5% of all workplace homicides. You can see from the graph that sales has the highest workplace homicide count, followed by transportation, management, construction, and production. This graph shows the service industry has the highest non-fatal workplace violence injuries, followed by healthcare, education, transportation, and management. There are different types of violence. Intimidation is an act or expression toward another person, causing the other person to reasonably fear for their safety or the safety of others. A threat of violence is an act or expression that threatens mental or physical harm or damage to property. An act of violence is an act or expression that actually causes mental or physical harm, regardless of severity or damage to property. Warning signs of potential workplace violence include erratic work patterns, a decline in productivity, substandard work relationships, continual excuses and blame, concentration problems, attendance problems, safety and health issues, careless health and hygiene, evidence of serious stress in their personal life, unusual or changed behavior, and depression. Engineering controls are physical changes to the workplace to prevent or lessen the severity of an incident. These include emergency alarms, signaling and monitoring systems, security devices like metal detectors and cameras, better lighting, and bulletproof or shatterproof glass enclosures in reception areas. Administrative controls are changes in policies or procedures, such as a zero-tolerance policy, management commitment and enforcement of these policies, training in hazard awareness, resolving conflicts, and recognizing potential signs, creating a buddy system, providing security escorts to parking lots, having open communication with workers, and making counseling available to reduce workers' fear. When you notice signs of potential violence, take immediate steps to defuse the situation. Remain calm. Continue to speak in a moderate tone of voice. Show respect to people even when they become upset. Focus on the problem by asking for details about the situation and going over possible solutions. If you still feel the person may become violent, alert an employee or colleague with a prearranged danger signal. Report the situation immediately according to established procedures if things threaten to get out of control. Here's what not to do. Never argue with an agitated person or tell them that they're wrong to be upset. Never raise your voice or mimic the angry person's behavior. This will only escalate the situation and make it worse. The Workplace Violence Prevention Program identifies the persons responsible for implementing the plan, procedures to respond to reports of workplace violence, how to identify and correct workplace violence hazards, and conduct post-incident responses and investigations. You can obtain a copy of the WVPP by contacting the program administrator or Human Resources. We should all be considerate and respectful to coworkers, visitors, and the general public. No one should engage in disruptive behavior, such as using profanity or obscenities, making obscene gestures, or exhibiting abusive conduct. Supervisors and managers are responsible for ensuring a safe and respectful work environment. Any supervisor, manager, or administrator who observes or receives a report of intimidation, threats, or acts of violence shall take appropriate action to investigate and, when appropriate, correct the problem. SB 553 requires all workplace violence incidents to be kept on a log with specific information regarding the incident, including the type of violence, the type of person engaged in violence, and the type of incident. This log is available to any employee and can be requested by contacting the program administrator or Human Resources. These are the main points you should take away from this training session. Workplace violence can take many forms and has numerous causes. Keep alert to signs of potential violence and take immediate action when you recognize them. Make sure to follow security procedures and encourage employees to do likewise. Report any incident or concerns immediately. If you have any questions or concerns regarding workplace violence, contact the program administrator or Human Resources.